Okay, so today we're going over Proofs Worksheet 2, and having your Proofs resources sheets in your interactive student notebook out will be important to solving and finishing all proofs. All right, so we're starting with proofs that are with the segment and angle addition postulate. So the segment addition postulate, if you remember, is where the left side of the segment plus the right side of the segment equals the whole segment. So that's going to be our kind of go-to on these proofs. We're going to try to group them into sections and get better at small areas of proofs and then combine them all together as the days go on. So if you look right here, on step 1, we always have given. Okay, it's always whatever's given is on step 1. That's always the reason is given. So we just had what was right here on the given written down here on step 1. So what it says is that they gave us AC equals AB plus AB. So that was a statement they made that they're saying this is true, use it, go. So now step 2. Sometimes step 2 can follow step 1 in terms of like it can use something step 1 said, and sometimes it can be something completely different. So let's look at what it's saying. It is saying that AB, that's this section, plus BC, that's this amount right here, equals AC. It equals the whole thing, AC. And I'm going to use highlighters a lot, and you really also should too. It's going to help a lot when you're starting proofs. So basically, the yellow plus the green equals the whole thing, which is the orange. That is the segment addition postulate. I'm going to abbreviate here. And the segment addition postulate lets us say the left side, AB, plus the right side, BC, equals the whole thing, AC. So that's the segment addition postulate. All right. So now, if we look at the next statement, statement number 3, it is probably using something from the previous two statements together. So you have AB plus BC. That was this amount right here. And you have AB plus AB. That's this part right here. So somehow they took statement 1 and 2 and combined them together. Now, we'll get better at this with practice, but what I think they did is I think they said, hey, AB plus BC equals AC, and this is AC. So what they did is they took all of this, since it equals AC, and they plugged it in here, and they swapped it out. And that's how they ended up with AB plus BC equals AB plus AB. So they took the amount on line 2 that I circled and they plugged it into line 1. That's called substitution. They substituted it in. So they substitution, and then after it we're going to write in parentheses, they took line 2 and they plugged it into line 1. And substitution is a little tricky at first, but once we get it down, we use it so much, you'll be pretty good at it by the time we're done. All right, now somehow they got from line 3 to line 4. So we need to look at line 3 and then line 4 and see what changed. So let's take a look. I'm going to use my highlighter again. So on line 4, they have BC, okay, and there's where BC was on line 3. On line 4, they have AB, and there was an AB on line 3. So what did they remove? All right, they removed this AB and this AB. They just took them out. So they can't just take them out. So you got to figure out, well, how would you remove AB from both sides? Well, you could subtract AB. And as long as you do it from both sides, it will cancel out and it's completely okay. So you subtracted the same thing from both sides. That's the subtraction property of equality. Okay, proofs are hard at the beginning, but they get better when we just stick with them. They take a lot of practice, all right? It's kind of like learning to read, and you just have to practice over and over, and then all of a sudden it will click and you're off. So let's try another proof real quick. All right, this has angles in it. And remember, I told you this whole worksheet, we're going to focus a lot on like the segment addition postulate and the angle addition postulate. So let's do a quick review of the angle addition postulate. So if I had some angle, let's call it ABC, and it was divided into two angles, not necessarily equal, just divided into two. Let's call them angle 1 and angle 2. Angle 1, this angle, plus the other angle, angle 2, would equal the whole thing, which is angle ABC. That's what the angle addition postulate says. So we're definitely going to be using it today. All right, let's look at our proof. Line 1 says given. So this is your given, and it's always what we start with. So measure of angle 1 equals measure of angle 3. They're telling us that statement. As you can see, they've marked it on the picture with the congruence lines. So we know angle 1 is equal to angle 3. All right, let's look at angle number 2. Angle EBA. So let's just take a look real quick. So EBA, I'm going to draw on this picture so we can see where they're talking about. And it says it equals angle 2, that's right here, plus angle 3. That's the angle addition postulate. This angle, angle 2, plus angle 3 equals the whole big angle, angle EBA. All right, so they have that already filled in for us. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that so we can draw on it some more. All right, let's look at line 3. So it says angle EBA equals measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 1. So if you notice, from line 2 to line 3, EBA is the same. That did not change. Measure of angle 2 is the same. That did not change. So what did change is right here. I had said angle 3, but now it says angle 1. So somehow, between lines 1 and 2, they had to do something to make line 3. Well, if we go back and look on line 1, it said angle 1 was equal to angle 3. So they took angle 3 out, and they swapped it out. They plugged in angle 1. Because if they're equal, you can substitute them in for each other. So they used substitution. So they took out angle 3 and they substituted in angle 1, and that's how they got that angle 1 right there. So that's substitution. And remember, we put which lines went into what. So they took line 1, whoops, and they went, sorry, I screwed that up. So they took line 1 and they put it into right here, which was line 2. So line 1 into line 2 is their substitution. Okay, so now, once again, I'm just going to back off some of my things here so that we're not quite so crowded up here. So let's look at line 4. We've got to figure out how they did line 4. So they said EBA equals angle 1 plus angle 2. All right. So they had EBA. That's the same thing as it was on line 3. Now if you look here, it was angle 2 plus angle 1, and now it's angle 1 plus angle 2. So all they did was swap the order that they're adding. That's all they did. So they changed the order they add. So that is actually called, I don't know if you remember this from way back in the day, you learn it in elementary, commutative property of addition. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our proofs resource sheet, and we have the commutative property of addition on the general properties. So let's just make a note. What the commutative property of addition says is that you can take two things that are adding and switch the order. So just a really basic example would be if you take 2 plus 3, you get 5. But if you change the order and take 3 plus 2, you still get 5. So basically it's saying, like, if you have angle 1 plus angle 2, then you could also say angle 2 plus angle 1 works the same thing. So you can switch the order. And then it works for multiplication also. So if you had, like, if 3 times 5 equals 15, then 5 times 3 also equals 15. So you can swap the order you multiply things in, and it's fine. So that's what the commutative property of addition says. Okay, so they just switched the order of 1 and 2, and that's how we got to line 4. So 5 says, hey, use the angle addition postulate again. Well, we already used the angle addition postulate for EBA right here. We already did that one. So it's not that. We've used that up. We've done that. And that was EBA right here. So just from what I'm trying to prove, I would bet I need to use angle CBD somehow. Like, it just makes sense that if I need CBD to be in line 6, then somewhere along here between lines 1 and 5, I have to talk about angle CBD. So measure of angle CBD, let's kind of highlight that. CBD is right here. All right, and so it equals this angle, angle 1, plus this angle, angle 2. And that is the angle addition postulate. All right, so now you can kind of use transitive property or substitution. I could see it both ways. So because measure of angle EBA equals 1 plus 2, and measure of angle CBD equals angle 1 plus 2, if they both equal measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2, then couldn't you use substitution or transitive to essentially say, okay, cool, if this equals 1 plus 2, then I could substitute it in right here for 1 plus 2. So that'd be EBA equals CBD, which is what I'm going for. You always end when you've proven this statement. So you could say transitive property, but honestly, you could also say substitution. I could see it working either way.